We have reached Golden Dreams in 1982, and the layout of the pay-per-view is a little different. The expectations are a little different because the reward of a good show is right in front of our faces. So let's get into the pay-per-view, and I will explain as we go what happens with a good show. For the first time in a while, we actually have stuff on the pre-show, and it's not matches, it's angles instead. Setting up a match either on Showcase or on Slamfest. Um, Between Flapjack and Roy McCallum, I'd probably say, I'd probably say maybe Showcase. But either way, it's just, sprinkling something on there, as is this with Valerie and Athena. Richard Eason is involved because he is one of the members of the championship committee. And the one feud that has not been accounted for at this show is Shane Wayne versus Ken Cullen, because it is slowly but surely progressing and more than likely does not need the pay per view as much as it just needs a Slam Fest. But this is the last segment for the pre show as we jump to the pay per view. The pay per view starts with Adrian Romero getting helped by Dexter Priceweather to defeat Lance Rush in the opening contest, which means Adrian Romero is the one to challenge Malcolm Rogue for the title for the Shooting Star Championship later in the broadcast. Knight Rider and Mayhem get their piece said. Kingman found himself new competition, and tonight we will prove why that's not good for him. Ray Kingman basically points to the fact that thus far during his championship reign, he has been a fighting champion and has never backed down from a fight so far, so there's no reason for him to back down from a fight now. And unfortunately for Ray Kingman, he comes up short against Knight Rider as Knight Rider officially becomes United States champion, winning his first piece of singles gold, and it is considered my way of rewarding Knight Rider for doing quite well over the last year. So props to him for putting together an incredible year, and also props to him for being an incredible competitor. Congratulations to the new United States champion. And that is not the only championship that has changed hands tonight, but we move to Wildman and Dread. And they speak of Romeo Hart, who interfered in their first challenge against the Flames back last month. Romeo Hart is now banned from the arena at the decision of the championship committee, Antonio Moretti, Ken Cullen, and Richard Eason, where Romeo Hart interfered in the last month, caused a disqualification, screwed Dread and Wildman, as well as the Flames, out of the titles and out of a fair contest. And with that being said, even much to the chagrin of Romeo Hart, he was banned from the arena. we move to Ann Stardust against Sandra Blanchett, as Ann is stepping forward as one of the top women in the women's division and somebody that could seriously be a competitor against Athena. But it's a question of eventually challenging Athena and being a serious threat to Athena. I don't know if I want to go through the match again or if I want to I need to figure some things out for the women's division to see which way I want to go. As now we move to the Flames, as they again poke the bear, they poke Romeo Hart after they've been poking and prodding at Romeo Hart, pushing to get him sent away, in writing that he's banned from the building. But now they go back to last year and they point out if it was really that much of an important event, if it was your biggest career milestone, why didn't you fight through the injury? Why did you let the injury win? You are weak. We're the World Tag Team Champions. We make the rules. You don't. You want to sit here and claim that you can get noticed by us. We know you exist, Romeo. But we don't acknowledge weak. And speaking of Romeo Hart causes the Flames to lose the tag team titles, which means Wildman and Dread are officially the tag team champions thanks to Romeo Hart. And also, I just would like to point out that Dread got his best in-ring performance, and hopefully Dread got enough of a bump, and also hopefully Joey was the one that doesn't drop below a certain number, that isn't meant to drop below a certain number, because one of the Flames are restricted, I guess is the best way to put it, from dropping below a certain number, but one of them probably did, because with the victory, even though Wildman's the one that got the win, Dread got a little bit of a boost. Either way, though, the Flames are no longer the tag team champions, and Wildman and Dread are officially the tag team champions. It's the first time, I know both these guys are heels. Both the Flames and Goldstein Law are heels. But I basically said, you know what, chalk it up to saying they want the belts. They want the winner's purse. They don't care what it takes. They don't care alignment or whatever it is. Wildman and Dread just want the money. That's what they're hungry for. And honestly, that logic, I credit Sam Muchnick, because it didn't matter heel face alignment. It wasn't where he did it a lot. It's where he did it enough. And it allowed him to have the best possible competitors and show the best possible matches for his fans. But also, I credit the logic to my creative advisor for saying wanting more money, that's a legitimate reason, and starving for gold is also a legitimate reason. But I just want to point out that, to my knowledge, Wildman Sullivan might actually be the first person to get the Triple Crown Well, actually, Wildman Sullivan is the second person to get the Triple Crown. The first person was Sid Streets, I believe. The first person is Sid Streets, I believe, because Sid is a former U.S. champion, tag team champion, and world champion. So when Sid won the world title back in 1980, he was the first Triple Crown champion. But now Wildman is the second Triple Crown champion, winning the United States title, the World Tag Team titles, and is a former world champion as well. But with that being said, now we have a different direction to go with the Flames out of the title picture and Goldstein Law in as champions. But it doesn't take long. The Flames are angry. They are pissed off, as you would be. What you saw is a damn insult. How do you let this happen? We don't need you face to face with us to know we're talking about you. And we're not just talking about you, Antonio Moretti. We are talking about that entire championship committee. Because it was your declaration that kept him away. But I guess he doesn't fear you enough to stay away. So we are demanding you discipline him. Because now he's the reason why we are no longer tag team champions. And unless you want us to file an injunction, because unless you want us to do something about it, deal with him or we will. Montero and Slater White promoting the main event. Again, these two have never lost a tag team match, and they're not going to start tonight. Once we deal with Sam and Mickey, we're going to have all the momentum in the world. Speaking of all the momentum in the world, Adrian Romero is now once again the Shooting Star champion, defeating Malcolm Rogue with the help of Dexter Priceweather. As Dexter, after the match, points out to Adrian Romero, I told you, kid, I'd make you a champion. And Dexter does exactly that. He makes Adrian Romero the new Shooting Star champion. Rocky makes it clear tonight, that's not my son I'll be standing across the ring from. Tonight is about business that needs to be handled, and I will handle my business tonight because Dusty, I want to say Dusty made it personal, but it was always personal. Dusty made a choice, and the choice he made is not one I'm happy about. But he made it clear that this is the only way to do it. This is what needs to happen. This is one of Rocky's best singles matches. In my opinion, I think this is one of his best singles matches in a long time, and also one of his longest, I'm pretty sure. But a solid outing for both Dusty and Rocky. I'm not going to say the feud is over because Katie Petronal got involved. I'm not going to say that it's over because I'm undecided if it is. But Dusty got a victory over his father. Which means, I could be wrong, Rocky got the victory back in 1979 at the King of the Squared Circle when Dusty ended up losing and taking a vacation, taking a hiatus from SWF because he said before the tournament that it was either go big or go home, meaning win it all, or he's gonna take a little bit of a break. And his father was the one that caused him to take that break. Just saying that it's leaving you're leaving a little something open. one of the best segments featuring Gavin Stardale, and you gotta figure that this probably helped him as Sam and Mickey step up against Gavin Stardale. Let me rephrase that. Gavin Stardale steps up and defends Hollywood Mike Kinsey against the rumors and innuendo of Mike Kinsey being the one that set the bounty, because Stardale gave Mike Kinsey the opportunity to explain why it wasn't him. And Mickey and Sam still appear and say that it's nice you gave him the opportunity, but we never said it was him. We just don't believe that it isn't. And then we move to Antonio Moretti announcing, which I do realize I could have just included. I do realize now that I could have just included Aries Titans. I didn't necessarily need to include Antonio Moretti. And including Aries Titans, I could have also included Abel. But we move to the main event. Basically on Slamfest this week, we're gonna have an open lottery drawing. The winner will get a world title shot against Angus McLeod next month on pay-per-view. And in the main event, Strong Starr, Sam Strong and Mickey Starr defeat Slater White and Luis Montero, giving Slater and Luis their first loss as a tag team. And a solid main event in the Mid-Atlantic region. Let's see how the pay-per-view did. 84, one of our best pay-per-views to date, to my knowledge. One of our best pay-per-views to date. And honestly, I'm going to give it to these guys. Because honestly, I was a bit impressed that Rocky's match actually did as well as it did. But the reason why this show had a little bit more of importance attached to it, it's because if we increased popularity in the right area, then this would happen. And what exactly that is we have moved up now from a medium company to a big company. We are now a big company, which means I can start giving people a little bit of a percentage boost to their pursuit of the Hall of Immortals. Even though my Hall of Fame is more important, the Hall of Immortals is an extra feather in their cap within the world of TEW. But either way, that makes things a little bit more interesting, not just now as we wrap up 1982, but also heading into 1983. With that being said, though, that is it from me. And if you want more TEW, then all you got to do is like and subscribe, because I admire and appreciate all of the recent love you guys have been showing on the TEW videos, and that does make me a little bit more motivated to want to share it. So I do thoroughly appreciate it, and it is helping. But either way, guys, that is it from me, and I will see you in the next one.